Professor, I'm absolutely fascinated by your story, and I thank you for your honesty, because it applies to so many people who would be watching this video. Even myself, I only did a BA degree in English and philosophy, but you know, the ancillary subjects you have to take to get through those 3 years. I failed a couple of them, and I thought, but they do not even interest me, and yet you have to do them. So you are speaking for what a lot of people might be thinking, and your honesty and sharing that is, I think, highly valued. Also, of course, you're talking about the extraordinary lengths that people in this country have to go to, I think particularly African women, to do all these things you talk about, and then to get themselves qualified at the kind of level at which you are qualified. I just want to, so I thank you for sharing that picture, because I think your journey is one that many people can identify with. Could I just ask the question about mentoring and support? You know, we go through all these things not on our own. Of course, we're part of a community, part of a family, whatever it might be, and there are people who help us achieve what we need to achieve. Could you talk a little bit about mentoring? You know, what role has that played in your life? Have you seen yourself? I'm quite sure you've been a mentor to many people. Just talking the way you're talking is mentoring. Can you talk a little bit about the concept of the support one needs to get qualified and to get educated?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. That's an important point, because I never talked about it. And I have to say that I don't remember any time in my life asking someone to be my mentor, but I had a lot of mentors, and I'll talk a little bit about that. In my undergrad, what helped me succeed was that I made friends in my class. Me, I choose the smart ones. I chose, there were 4 young men, Happy Stole, Kabelo Masilo, Given Balani, who were very smart. They became my friends. I used to go study with them. And I asked, and 2 of them have got PhDs, but they went for physics. They didn't go for maths. And but I made sure. So if you're doing undergrad, it's as long as you are studying, you've got to have people that are studying the same thing that you connect with, because you can share your questions and so on with it. When I did my PhD, for example, I was working. Each one of us have our own projects, but Tabiso, Nyaba Nyaba, and Melody Graven, who are both professors at the moment, one in Lesotho, one is in Australia, were my friends. Okay, and we worked together, we read together, we shared ideas, because we had done a master's together. So the first thing, before you get someone, because the mentor is always someone who's ahead of you, I think value the people who are doing what you're doing, and get your peers that you can work with, because it's easier. You can see that what you're struggling with, they're struggling with, and you can use some of the strategies that they use to succeed. And then I get to mentoring. You know, I name a few mentors, but one of the key mentors that I had in my journey is Professor Jill Edler. And Professor Jill Edler, I've never asked her to be my mentor. I just was attracted to her by how she was teaching us. She taught us at honors, and she was my supervisor for my honors project. And then I asked her, remember, at the end of the honors, I'm going to do a master's. There was another professor who chose me, wanted me to be supervised by him. And it feels good because people want him, but I want Professor Edler. And I asked her. She didn't ask me. I went to her and I said, I want you to be my supervisor. It's not because the other one was not good, but it's because I was attracted to Professor Edler's way of working, way of engaging with us as students. So what am I saying? When you identify a mentor, be clear about what is it that's drawing you to them. I never asked her, I didn't ask her to be my mentor. I asked her to supervise my research, because you need a supervisor when you do research. And then I used to watch her, how she does things. And because I wanted to be an academic, I used to think, if I need to know how to be a good academic, Professor Edler is a good person to look at. You know? And sometimes I would ask her, why are you doing this, right? So if you're going to have a mentor, find someone whose ethical choices and career choices you admire. Okay, ethical and career choices, you admire them and you want to follow them. Most people want someone who seems to be doing well, they're looking at material things, money or whatever. Don't chase that. Look at the person. What is it? Be clear. What is it about the way they're doing their work that you admire? Because that's important. And then, so I chose Professor Edla for my master's supervisor. And then when I finished the master's, I remember when I was submitting and I popped into her office and I said, oh, Prof, I'm done. And of course I was working, I was a teacher. I'm done. Thank you so much for the supervision. I've just submitted. I hope it goes well. And she said, yes, I hope it goes well. And she said, so what do you plan to do? What did you do in master's? And what do you plan to do? What's your dream? And I said to her, I want your job. And she's like, I said to her, not your current job, but your kind of job. And she said, are you serious? I said, yes. And then she said, set me down. Remember, I have never asked her to be a mentor, right? But I'm taking her as a mentor the way I relate to her. The way you relate to your mentor, you ask her questions, you show what you're interested in. They, in turn, will ask you questions because they can see you. So you are building this relationship without them noticing that you are. I just find that it's much easier. Of course, you can ask them if you like, be my mentor. But I think the fact that you've asked them doesn't necessarily make the mentorship relationship work, but it's how you relate with them. And so Professor Edla said to me, well, if you want to be if you want my job, it means you want to be an academic, and that means you've got to get the license to practice. I was like, license to practice? She said, yes, you must get a doctorate. I was like, oh, I'm tired, Prof. I can't do this. That was 96. And I said to her, I'm taking a break, 1997. I'm taking a break. I need a break. I need to spend time with family. I'll see you in 1998. And she said, great. And of course, she recruited me whilst I'm not studying to work on her research project as a research assistant, which was great. Like, not as a research assistant at the time, just as one of the members of the research group to come. Yes. She said, if you have time, come in, do this. 98. She said to me towards the end of 97, you said you want to be an academic, and you said you're starting in 1998. Were you serious? Do you want to start? And I said, yes, I've applied, whatever. And then she said, here's a deal. I want to employ you as a research assistant in the research group. You've been coming, as a member. Now I want us to employ you. Why don't you take leave without pay at your job? At that time, I was working for an NGO. And the NGO, at that NGO, I was a project manager. And this is important for people who are studying and looking to find a career. I knew I wanted to be an academic. I was a program manager, training maths teachers all over in farm schools and townships. And she said, come and be a research assistant. At that time, I had won a Mellon grant. She had encouraged me to apply Presidential Educational Initiative, a grant there. And she said, look, your Mellon grant plus your Presidential Education Initiative, 100,000, that. I have an NRF grant and I have this and I have that. We can put it together in a month. You can get this amount of money because if you apply for leave without pay, you need to live. And she said, will this be okay? And I said, I want to go home and think about it. And I came back and I said, and at home, when I thought about it, I weighed things. I want to be an academic. These ones pay me more money, but it's not going to make me an academic. What do I want? I decided to make sacrifices. I said to her, I will take that. And this is not just about the money. I said yes to being a research assistant. Remember, I'm a program manager at my NGO, right? Now, being a research assistant means that you collect the readings, you get the room ready, you first book the room, get it ready. You are basically the servant of the research team. You make copies, you prepare. When we go for data collection, I'm the one who's preparing the teams and putting, at that time, that was 1998, guys. And I was the only Black person. My friends looked at me talked to me and said, Kgethi, you are going mad. You have a master's degree. You had a good job. Now look at what you're doing, making coffee for people. And I said, I want to be an academic. And this that I'm doing is a way in for me. My way in was to go down from being project manager to being a research assistant. And I was very clear about what I'm going to learn because I've been working with Professor Edla. Remember, this is a person whose career choices I admire. I admire how she teaches. I admire her research. I admire this. She's been my supervisor, and the way she works with us. When we go to the conference, she's like, you know, who do you want to meet? We get to the conference, she introduces you to the people, she leaves you with them, and you must get on with it, you know? And she was successful. So if you have someone like that, you can emulate what they're doing. So I didn't care that people said to me, why people are using me, because I wanted to be with an expert, someone who's achieved, not just someone who talks about it, someone who had achieved it. And I thought, I'm going to learn. First of all, I'm going to be a good researcher. But secondly, I'm going to learn how to run a big research project and how to manage the money. Because if you're a research assistant, you do all of this. How do you manage a big team in a big project? So I'm going to be a hardcore scholar. And whilst I'm doing that, remember, I'm also doing my research, my PhD research. Professor Edla was teaching master's students. She would say to me, do you want to come to class with me? Because she knew I wanted to be an academic. And I would say, yes. And then she said, do you want to take next week's class? I mean, it's like she's dumping, you can say she's dumping her work on me. I thought, I'm getting experience. Of course, I want her job. So I would go, you know, and she would be in class and I would take half of the lecture, whatever. So at that time, remember, I'm paid only as a research assistant. I had taken leave without pay for 6 months. At the end of the 6 months, she said, we still have more money. We can go for a year. Do you want to negotiate with your employer? I did. At that time, the person who ran, the director of our NGO, Professor Jackie Nodia, said, at that time, I knew you are not coming back. And so I went on for the next 6 months. And in that next 6 months, the math department at Wits advertised a tutor job. Remember, I was project manager. And Professor Edla said, did you see that they advertised a tutor job in the math department? Do you want to apply? I applied. I got the job. My salary had gone down. My gross at Wits was not even equals to my net where I came from. And I took that, tuned my lifestyle to fit my whatever. What I'm saying is that I made some tough decisions. I knew I'm not going to buy any new clothes, no new furniture, no new car, paid up my car and that was it, small little car. At that time, my friends are medical doctors, they are physiotherapists, they are teachers, they are advancing, and I wasn't advancing. And I went on because